What's up, people? So hopefully the mill going back there is not gonna drive you guys too crazy. But yeah. So just hanging out, trying to get caught up on some of this stuff before everything breaks loose.
Hey!
Oh Jesus!
Up, people?
Oh Jesus! Hold
so
on.
Hopefully the mill going back there is not gonna jump.
Mute. There we go. Woo! Forgot it was going in the background over there. Had to get the shareable link so I could get it into the group. Yeah, I wonder if I can. I don't know if I can get rid of that. That's the mill going back there. So I'm not sure if I can dial that back a little bit. Maybe that'll help some. Not sure if it'll cut me out or not. I got a volume. That's headphone volume, I think. Anyway, just chilling. Just finished putting myself together another little bitty guy. Little DNA 75 18500. Because I dropped my dual 18350 version that I've been using and took a nice little chunk out of it. But that was like the third or fourth time it was dropped, so I wanted to get that going. Let's see. Waiting to go to work. I'm already here. Going to the range. It's rainy here, so can't really do much outside. I got the dogs in here with me. Don't pull over to watch this, D. There's not much to update. I mean, I was hoping to get stuff this past Friday, but obviously since you guys aren't watching me build stuff, I didn't. So hoping to hear something early this week, tomorrow, Tuesday. Hopefully no later than Wednesday, but I don't know yet. So still holding, still waiting. Yeah, so the main culprit is not here at the moment. Hopefully she won't be hoarding my internet. What does it look like I'm doing here? I got stuff in the way. Yeah, looking pretty good right now. You will be able to see one as soon as I have them to show, but they're going to look a lot like the V3. Just some small outward differences in appearance, nothing crazy. Not too much going on. Like I said, I just finished putting together another little mouth to lung banger, and it's charging over there now. That was a pain in the ass too, because I had to print it like 3 times. Prints kept failing. It's time to change out the little reservoir tank thing over there, and I keep putting it off because it's a pain in the ass, messy. I did some machine research earlier in the week though, and I just muddied my waters. I thought I had everything figured out, but I got to looking at used machines, and I'm still on the fence with that. I'm not sure if I want to do that or not. I'm not selling them at the moment, Brandon. I hope to eventually be able to do that, but I don't know when, if, or how, because I don't want to print them. I don't want to sell printed stuff. I want to sell machined, good, high-quality stuff. Problem is those things take for fucking ever to assemble and get together. And it's just a time suck. Something like that though, depending on cost of the body for the machine work and whatnot, probably somewhere in the probably the 200 to 300 range. Just a ballpark guess. It just depends. I don't know. Material's going to matter. Machine time's going to matter. Because there's going to be to do that, especially with the little thumb notch. See that right there? Because I tend to vape, you know, like this, and it's a nice little place to rest. That's a new feature I just put on this to see how I like it. If I do something like that in a machine version, I'm gonna have to 3D machine that, which is gonna be a pain in the ass. The top will have to be 3D machined because there's some slanting and some profiling on the top that is not quite as easily done as it is described. So it'll just be a runtime thing. Todd, the tank is around, let's see, it's going to be around 50 or so millimeters tall, including the tip. It's about 65 millimeters tall. It's a 30 millimeter tank. There's not a whole lot to it. Holds 10 mils without the bubbles in tall mode. 6 mils, I believe, in short mode. It's just a pretty standard 30 millimeter tank. I've got dogs in my way over here. Excuse me while I go change out my part. Yeah. Oh. Actually, I'm over here working on the Mad Modder edition chimney sleeves for the V4. Trying to get those done and get them ready ahead of the run coming in, so I'm not up against it trying to get them out. Go. Yes, all of the Mad Modder. There was 25 available, and they're all gone. I am not doing anything for Cinco de Mayo, unfortunately. Not much I really can do. I don't really have a whole lot on hand to do anything with. Daniel, once I get the shop functional and sort of get caught up on the backlog of projects, then that's not outside the realm of possibilities for sending me a block to deal with. It'll be something I'll do probably rarely, just because keeping somebody else's stuff on hand. Like, there'll probably have to be some sort of disclaimer with it. Like, if I destroy your block, then I'm sorry, but that's shit can happen. Stabilized wood, depending on how it's stabilized and the specific block and the species and everything else, they can be quite brittle. The resin can, depending on how it was done, not always does the resin penetrate deep enough into the block itself to fully stabilize it throughout. There is a range of depths depending on the species of wood and the burl, the specific burl, as to how deep that resin will penetrate. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility to where you machine all of the stabilized wood off and you're left with unstabilized wood that you're cutting on. So it's depends on the block, depends on what you're doing with it, depends on a bunch of different things. So maybe, I don't know. Just a few minutes. Cookie not too long ago. Sneak peek of the sleeves. Let's see. I don't know how well it'll show up, but I don't know if it'll focus or not. We'll see. There you go. They all are identical. Ronnie's will be slightly different, just because it's his deal. So, well, focus. Well, anyway, you got a bit of a look at it. What if I can get it to try again? Hey, there we go. So it's just a Mad Modder. It's the Mad Modder logo with 1 of 25 right above it. And they're all identical. They all said the same thing. I'm not serializing anything anymore because that's a massive pain in the ass. But yeah, I mean, anyway, machines. So I had picked out a couple of Chinese machines that I think I'm pretty sure I can afford to finance. And then I made the mistake of checking out the Haas available inventory section of their website, and they've got some extremely nice machines on hand right now at some pretty good discounted prices, and it kind of threw my whole shit into a bit of a tailspin. Then I looked on eBay, and it further complicated things because I found a machine that's damn near perfect for what I need to do with it. It's a CNC mill. Super fast spindle speeds, so I'll be able to use the tiny tools I'm going to need to use and make some good time out of it. But it's a used machine, and it's like 13 years old. So I'm not exactly sure if I want to roll the dice on it, but it's at an incredibly good deal, like stupid good deal. So I'm not sure what I want to do. It's like I could get all new Chinese for like 70 grand, or I could get all new US made for like 85 grand. So I'm not sure if that extra 15 is worth it for a little bit of a stronger machine, controls that I'm actually familiar with, that I've used before, that I'm used to. I don't know. And if I go used, then I can actually come in better than the Chinese versions. But it's a gamble because I don't know what the state of the machines are like. I don't know, of course it says they're functional and, under power, and you can see them working and blah, 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 but it doesn't tell you what kind of runouts they have, what kind of slop in the ball screws they have, what kind of, if the linear guides are sloppy, or, spindle bearings, if they need to be replaced. They don't tell you any of that. It doesn't, what kind of backlash they have in them. You don't, so it's, I just don't know. I mean, just because they're Chinese, though, they've got Swiss spindle bearings, they've got German linear guides. Mainly, they're assembled in China, and they use a Chinese casting for the main structural components. So I'm just not sure. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Because I'm starting to get to the point where I need to make a decision, and my building is supposed to be here in a couple of weeks. And I don't want it to be sitting empty for too long, because the longer it sits empty, the longer it's going to take to start making it make money, and that's the whole point. So I don't know. And the more money I finance in the machines, the more the monthly payment's going to be. I'm already going to be in the $500 to $1,000 range a month in electricity alone. So, look for a lot more Patreon content coming for you guys that are helping me out on Patreon. That's gonna be an incredible help with getting everything off the ground and keeping things, solvent. I'm scared. It's a scary thing. Yeah, that's kind of what I would prefer, James. I just, I don't want to go too far too fast and end up in the hole and eventually have to fucking sell shit off or take a hit, or, go behind the line too far, or, up front, so that I can't actually afford to buy tooling or raw materials or stuff like that, I don't even know how long it's going to take once the stuff is here and under power and functional to start getting good product off of it. There's going to be a lot of trial and error to get tool paths dialed in and fixturing figured out. And it's going to be a thing, to say the least. I'm hoping to be able to start shipping the V4s towards the end of this coming week, but that could change. Just depends on when I get parts. I might, if I can pick them up before Thursday or before Wednesday this week, then I hope to be able to start shipping them probably Friday and Saturday. The shipping is going to take a while, so I'm going to be shipping pretty constantly until I'm caught up. So if I can do 10 in an evening, that's what'll ship the next day. If I get through 12 to 15 the next day, that's what'll ship the next day. So, and I'll be going by order number, so the lower the order number, the earlier they'll ship. Since I'm doing it that way, that's kind of how things will go out. If you've had multiple orders come through, I combined those orders and kept the earlier order number. So, just because I mean, say for instance you jumped on an Ultimate Bubble kit right away, and then later on decided to grab a V4, then your place in line was secured with the bubble kit order, so your stuff will go out a little quicker. It just depends on, where you fall. It's a good point, James. They probably would. They probably would. Honestly, I'm not sure what resale value on those machines are, because there aren't very many for sale on the used market. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, if people that are buying them are holding on to them because they're decent machines, or what's going on. So I don't know. I just don't want to go behind the line for $100 grand. I don't even know for sure yet if I can get financed for that much money. So that may be the limiting factor there. It just depends on what these finance houses will do for me. I just don't know. And I don't know if I'm just assuming the market's going to stay where it is, and these things will actually move once I can get them out, so. I know for a fact that I can't go any deeper than Haas. So stuff like a DMG Mori, not going to happen. Those things are just astronomical. Citizen, again, I found a couple of Citizens used on eBay, but again, those are used machines, and I have no idea what they've done. What? I don't know what you mean, Joe Doe. I meant to be one of the 25. So look at your order. It'll say Mad Modder Edition on your order if that's what you bought. Your order will say, well, there were two separate products. So you either got you got one of the Mad Modder editions, or you got one of the regular editions. But it'll say that on your order. Let's check and see what we're looking like for what's left here. Looks like we've got about 110 or 12 left available. So that's cool. Got a few left. Yeah, Massimo does good work. It's just kind of what I'm sitting at now. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out machining, and once a building gets here, it's going to be kind of full bore to try to get that thing ready to go. It's going to be a bit of a pain. I'm going to have a lot of fucking work, long nights and shit, trying to get it insulated and get electricity ran. And dude, I just said, man, as soon as I get them in hand, I'm going to start shipping. I don't have parts to ship yet. I'm not expecting parts before midweek this week. If I get them then, stuff will start going out this coming weekend, towards the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, that kind of thing. I thought I just went through all that. Stuff will start shipping as soon as I've got stuff here to start shipping with. So one of the things I would like to eventually be able to do when the shop is going is to get a little coating system set up. Something that would let me do that myself. I kind of sort of know the process, but I'd have to get some equipment, obviously, to be able to do that. But I would like to start doing that. Oh, no worries, man. I saw you earlier and I thought I answered, but I guess you must have missed it. But yeah, I want to be able to coat the stuff myself, just because, you know, the gun coat does really well. Looks like. I mean, I've been using it for a while now, and it seems to be holding up great. You know, it would let me do some things, you know. Some things and things. But yeah, I want to be able to offer some different finishes aside from just a normal machined look, you know, do some sandblasting, some tumbling, that kind of thing. Drive safe, D. Watch out for those idiots on the road with you, bud. There, another one's done. Let's go change the part. This would actually go a lot quicker if I trusted this shitty little machine enough to repeat, but I don't, so I kind of have to retouch it every single part just to make sure. Plus, my fixturing isn't the greatest. Locating off the threads, and that can move. Not move, but it can be different from part to part to part. So kind of have to make sure that I touch it for each part, just in case the threads don't align exactly right every time. It's just the nature of the beast, I guess. So far, though, they've been pretty close. I'm just a stickler, and I want it to be right every time. Hey, Mark, anytime, man. Yeah, so it's not that the parts are different. It's just that when you thread, so I can't just put a new one in and hit go, because I have to align them to the engraving, the laser etching, which you can't really see, but sort of. So I want the etching to be exactly opposite of the engraving, and because they weren't fixtured to the threads when they were etched, that etching can be anywhere around in relation to the threads. And since I'm holding on the chimney tube over there, holding that and just threading this up tight in order to hold it while the machine does its thing, I have to re-index it every single time to make sure that the engraving falls opposite of the laser etching. So I can't just thread a new one on and hit go like I should be able to do, but it is what it is, you know. And it's a lot quicker to just set it up than it is to run it over and over and over again to try to get the depth right. So, because it takes 20 minutes per. So, yeah, they should be up there, Sam. You want a longer throw on your button? Yeah, that thing looks sick, Julie. That one came out nice. I'm not exactly sure if he masked it before he coated it, or if he like sanded it back and then polished it. I'm not sure exactly how he did that. I'm sure he'd tell me, I just haven't asked. I'd imagine he probably sanded it back and then polished it. Either way, it looks really, really good. Same if you put more than one yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. If you put more than one insulator down there, just try to make sure that those notches are not overlapped. Make sure they're kind of lined up, so you can get, just in case you, for whatever reason, ever need it, you can get some venting through there. Yeah. Pay no attention to Cookie's trolling comments. Don't ding the bottom of your battery with a bulking hammer. Don't do that. No, don't do that. Bad, bad. Oh, I'm sure you'll see all kind of pictures of that thing when she gets it. So the only way I'll have the V4 top fills available separately is if they were overrun. I didn't specifically order extra, but that's not to say I won't get any extra. If so, then yes, I'll have some up on the site for those that might want them. But yes, they will work with any other version. The only things I over-ordered on were the chimney sleeves, so I could have them for custom sleeves for you guys. Everything else was ordered one for one. That's not to say they were all produced one for one. So he's pretty good about running up some extras, because there's always QC fallout, and it just depends on what makes it through. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. You know, we're just kind of chilling, hanging out. Got tired of watching YouTube videos. Figured I'd come hang out with you guys for a little while. See what was going on. See what everybody's up to. Want to just hang out. I'm really looking forward to getting into the new shop though, because I'm about had it. Oh look, you can see. So, which over here, see him down there, right under my armpit here. That's Cooper. That's Cooper's ass right there. He's laying there chilling. Big brother's over here. Cooper likes to be in the way all the time, so every time that thing cuts off, I have to move him to get over there to it. But no, it came up a little rain shower, and I had to bring them in here, and they're just hanging out. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting in there, because I want to get all of this shit organized into some usable structure. Right now everything's just kind of in here, and I'm sort of the only one that knows what's here and where everything is and all that. So it's going to be nice to organize everything and get it all laid out, have a place for everything, and have everything in its place and all that jazz. So I'm going to have a nice, I think I'm going to do it with the nice, one of those 72-inch Husky rolling toolbox workstations. Have the top for, you know, shipping and assembly and whatnot, and have the drawers for all of the parts and stock and everything. Yeah, it's coming back. Need to trim it up. It's a little uneven. this, it kind of goes whichever way it wants. I got this little bit down here that's a little too long. I need to trim back. It grows nice. It grows nice on this side, hangs down nice and straight. But then this side kind of curls under, and it looks uneven. See how it's got that sort of angle? I don't like that. Yeah, Julie. So this whole endeavor marks the single biggest reinvestment into the company at one time. Everything's been sort of an incremental, ongoing thing. Like when I got the 3D printer, that was one chunk, and then I got I got the mill first, and that was a little chunk, and then I got that thing over there, and it was a chunk, and then I got all the little electronic stuff, which was relatively inexpensive, the soldering station, the battery tab welder, and heat gun and Dremel, and the little stuff is a little bit at a time. I try to upgrade the computer like once a year. It'll be easier now that I've got an actual desktop. Now it's not buying a new laptop every year and a half or so, which is what I've been doing, which is asinine. I had it in my head that I could use a laptop because I could take it with me when I go places and get stuff done. That never happens, so I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to get a desktop. It'll be more functional and cheaper. I've got a more capable system now for a fraction of the cost of what I would have spent to get that similar spec laptop, and so. Oh dear. I certainly hope so, Julie. It's going to be, the business accounts are going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel, to say the least, after it's all said and done. I hope to, Sam. I hope to, but I don't know. It just depends on how much time I'll have to devote to it around everything else, how efficient I can be with the time I do have, and how creative I can be with the processes themselves. So I hope so. Like in my head it works out and I've got it all set up here, but best laid plans, who knows. I would really love for those things to be able to pay for themselves, but probably not. Probably not. They're a bit of a pain to put together. They're really tight in there. Like I had to put the one I just did today. I had to put it together twice because I had a wire that was just a 1/4 inch too long, and it got over top of one of the screw holes that holds the mod together, and I screwed right through it, which was not good. Broke the wire. Didn't cause any major troubles or anything. Had the body of the mod itself been conductive, it may have been a bit of a different situation, but it was my fault 100%, because I saw it when I was putting it together. I'm like, I got to make sure to push that over when I put it together, and forgot. And so that's the hope, Josh. I don't know though, man. It sucks. I get less and less. Like I wasn't able to do anything at all yesterday. One of the wife's friends was moving, and we had an old refrigerator that I put back together and fixed up that we let her have, and I had to get it to her, and she stayed and helped General move in stuff. So I had to bring Jax back with me and hang out with him all day, which was great, but it didn't allow me to come out here at all because I was with him all day. So that was cool, but I didn't get to do anything out here. So, you know. So I'm pretty much kind of the same as I was 4 years ago. I design, somebody else produces, and I ship. You know, so not a whole lot's changed. I mean, I've got more toys. You know, I can do some things, but they haven't really turned into any sort of profit. You know. I've been able to do some prototyping with the 3D printer and stuff for mods and whatnot, but I don't want to release them more than I already have just because they're really fragile and I can't assemble enough quantity to be able to get them out to meet market demand. So I kind of just don't, because if I do, it takes time away from other stuff that I need to do, like shipping and stuff like that, you know. And I'm not good at keeping up with shipping as it is. I'm doing good to be able to ship 2 or 3 times a week instead of daily, which I would like to do. I get maybe an hour and a half a day during the week out here. So I need to get better about budgeting my time, especially on the weekends. I'm not good at getting up early on the weekends and getting out here and, you know, getting started early. That's on me though. Speaking of which, I haven't even eaten today. I'm still working on my coffee. So it just kind of depends on when the orders come in. You know, sometimes if I'm in the process of getting the orders, you know, the labels and stuff created and getting shipping on the orders, you know, then if an order pops in right then or earlier in that day, then they go out. It seems like they go out fast, but some people have been waiting for 2, maybe 3 days before that to get those out. James, it just depends on, as far as pricing and cost goes, it depends on where I can shave my costs. So currently producing these smaller quantity runs here in the US, I mean, that just, they kind of come in where they come in. You know, if I can cut costs by doing it myself, then yeah. You know, I mean, my margins are basically the same across the board on everything I ship. So, like the tanks margins are the same as, you know, the top fill conversions. You know, percentage wise. You know, so if I can lower the costs on the individual components, then cost comes down on everything for you guys, because I'm able to get those in my hands and get them produced for less money up front. You know, it just depends on where that comes in. It's another reason I don't do a lot of wholesale orders, because, you know, margins are higher direct to consumer, and I've got my margins sort of barely where they need to be to begin with. So right now the margins are what they would be normally shipping to wholesale or shipping wholesale. So if I were to only sell to shops and distributors and stuff, the pricing would be the same. You know, but they would tack on their margin. So if it was a distribution scheme like any other industry, I would make the same amount on the tanks as I currently do, selling to a distributor. The distributor would tack on their margin and balloon the price to the wholesalers. The wholesalers would then tack on their margin and balloon the price again to the retailer. The retailer tacks on their margin, and now instead of paying $250 for a tank, you're closer to $400. That's how the normal supply chain works industry wide for whatever industry you're talking about. Fashion, clothing, insert product here, right? Hats, right? The manufacturer makes the hats, sells them to a distributor. The distributor sells them to a wholesaler. The wholesaler sells them to the retailer. The retailer sells them to the consumer. That's how it works. Now, if I'm the producer and I cut out all those layers in between and go straight to the consumer, then I can keep the margin for myself where it is, but drastically lower the price for the consumer, and everybody wins except for the distributor and the wholesaler and the retailer. Since I'm now, instead of just being the manufacturer, I'm also the retailer, and I cut out those 3 layers in between. Now, they don't always have all those layers. Sometimes the wholesaler buys directly from the manufacturer. Sometimes the retailer buys directly from the manufacturer. So it just kind of depends on the supply chain for the industry you're talking about. This is sort of why I don't do a lot of wholesaling. So if you guys work for a shop and you're watching, or you're a wholesaler and you're watching, or whatever, this is sort of why I don't really do that, because my margins are already to a point to where I'm over like market the price at which the market can bear, right? I'm expensive. I know that. I don't want to be. It's just kind of how it has to be for that specific thing. I'd much rather be able to sell these things to you guys for like $1.50, you know, like 150 to 180. It seems like it would be a much better price point for what these things are. I just simply can't. Exactly, Sam. So it can't be. Now, if I can cut my costs down on the individual parts, then I can do that. So the 25, if I can make it work the way I want it to work, the 25 millimeter tank, I might be able to bring out for the 150 to 180 range, you know, and it would be a much easier pill to swallow to get them in your hands. And that's what I'm shooting for. And I don't know if I'll get there or not, but that's what I'm shooting for. You know, because I'm almost to the point where I'm pricing myself out of the much larger market. You know, I'm sort of selling to a niche of a niche of a niche as it is, and I'd like to broaden that audience quite a bit. But I'd have to get my costs down, and if I can do that, then, you know, we'll be in a different ballpark. Stretch it out. Oh, yeah. go back out. A Scottua ring. It's produced in greater quantities for some reasons. Yeah, James, that's the goal. I'm trying to get, as many out as I can. It's just that right now, since I'm not in control of the production process, I have to order a quantity that I think will move in a reasonable enough amount of time that I can recoup the cost of that run in a reasonable amount of time. So when everything's finished being produced, when I get parts, I have 30 days to pay for those parts. So if I can't move enough of those units to recoup the cost of the run within that 30 days, then I'm coming out of my pocket and killing my operational budgets to try to fulfill, to try to pay for it. So I'm sort of playing a numbers game every time I do a run and just praying that I'm going to move enough to be able to pay for them and not get in the hole and not have a bunch left over that I can't move, like hybrid drippers. Hey Kenny, the new shop, it's coming. The foundation is there. I talked to the building manufacturer earlier in the week, and they said that they should be able to get somebody out sometime around the 13th to install it. So hopefully week after next, the shop will be there, at which point it's on me to get it insulated and wired and lit. So right now the plan is to, once it's there, get it insulated. Once it's insulated, I can set the meter base and run the power line from the meter base to the pole. Then I can call the utility company and have them make the connections and set the meter. At which point I can start running conduit inside the shop to pull wire for lights and machines and all that. So it's kind of where we're at now, just sort of waiting. It's just hanging out, trying to figure out in my own head what I can do and what I can get done. Yeah, talked about that a little earlier. It's there's a company in Detroit called Detroit Machine Tools, and they sell machines called they're automatecnc.com is what they are, and they're machine tools made by Zhang Huang Machine Tool, something like that, out of China. And they're affordable, I guess, and they'll work for what I need to do the way I want to do it. Problem is they're Chinese machines, and not exactly ideal since spindle speeds aren't quite there for the mill. I'm going to be using really small tooling, so if you look at those pockets in there, I've got to use like 1.5 millimeter, 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter tooling to be able to cut that stuff out, and that size tool needs to be spun really fast to be able to make the most out of it. If you don't spin it fast, you have to move it really slow. If you move it really slow, it means it takes a long time to machine one part. So from a production standpoint, the faster you can spin it, the faster you can move it, the more material you can move, the faster the part gets done. And when you have 10, 15, 20 parts in the machine at one time, you go from a few days of runtime to, maybe a day or a few hours. Yeah, I found a used VF2 from 2006. It's got a 30,000 RPM spindle on it. That's really affordable. Problem is I don't know the state of the machine. I don't know how many hours are on it. I want to call this week and find out, because if that's the case, then I'll probably grab that up. If they act like it's in really good shape and it's been recently serviced and stuff like that, then it may be worth it. Problem is that machine has the 480 volt 3-phase transformer in it, and I will only have 240 3-phase in my shop. So I don't know if that's an additional transformer that I just won't need, or if it's something that I'll have to convert back to 240, because I would really not like to use a step-up transformer if I can help it. So there's that. It's just one of those things where we don't know. We're hopeful, but we don't know. But if that machine is in decent shape and nobody buys it before I can get to it, and it will work out, that's going to save me a crap ton of money if it's the thing. When I saw it, I was like, holy crap, there's Providence. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I need. This is exactly right. But it's a gamble because it's a used machine, and I don't want to get stuck with something that I'm going to have to fight all the time to keep running. I would much rather spend a little more up front for something I'm not going to have to fight at every step of the way, because it's used and it was less expensive. I just want it to work and not have to, I mean, it's got everything I would need. It's got the probing systems. It's a much bigger bed on it. I'd be able to put more parts on it. It's got the faster spindle speeds, the faster cutting speeds. I can do a lot more with a machine like that if, and it's a big, huge if it's in good shape. And I just don't know if it is or not. But I'll be calling this week to find out. So, I don't know. But if it does work out and it is in good shape, then I can get that and a brand new Haas lathe for what I would have paid for the China machines. So I should be okay as far as that's concerned. The biggest thing for me electrical wise is going to be picking the right phase converter. So if I can get the right phase converter that's not going to cost an absolute fortune, then, ideally I would much prefer, a big heavy duty phase converter that will let me run the lathe, the mill, and maybe the air compressor off that. I just don't know what that's going to do to the the electric cost. You know, those machines are going to suck through some power. It's going to be fucking expensive. But if I can keep them running the way I want to keep them running, then they should be covered. But I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But yeah, as of right now, though, as lightheaded as I am, I'm gonna go grab something to eat. I'm gonna go get something to eat, go hang out in the house for a little bit, and yeah, keep going on these things. I've got the one that's going now and 5 more to do, and they'll be done. So I'm in pretty good shape with that. So I think I'm gonna sign off. Go grab some lunch, breakfast type foodage, and yeah. But that's kind of where we're at, you know. Sort of a whole hodgepodge of different things discussed, but yeah. So that's where we're at. That's what's going on, you know. Hoping to start shipping this week. Fingers crossed, all that. So we'll see. You guys have a great rest of your day, and everybody go hug your mamas next weekend if we don't speak before then, which I'm sure we will, but if not, and I don't see you between now and then, be sure to hug your mama next weekend and say I love you, because you wouldn't be here without her. You guys take care, and I will see you on the flip side. Later.